What's up, you guys? Happy Thursday. So, what a ride today. I've literally been on the phone for like 7 hours chatting with amazing women who are changing their lives. So, it really got me thinking about freedom. So, I chatted about this a little bit earlier in the week, but it's been such a big thing that I wanted to kind of return to it. So, um, on Monday, I was feeling really stuck. I was feeling really stuck with how I felt in my skin at that moment. I was feeling really stuck with where I wanted to go, with my nutrition and my boundaries and kind of where everything was. And I felt like I didn't have freedom, right? And I felt like the thing that I worked so hard with the last year is really finding freedom with food in my body. And Monday morning, I felt like I didn't have that. And so I really got to leaning into that feeling, and it really brought me back to what I used to feel like every single morning, every single time I went to the pool, every single time I thought about, oh, it's Monday, start my new diet, get stricter, take out all the things, right? And so it really brought me back to that feeling of being stuck and the feeling of being trapped and that feeling. And I was like, oh, this feeling is so not where I want to live, right? And so I spent a lot of time journaling on it. But I was doing that, it really brought me back to one of my clients that was going through the same thing, and really, and her story of how she got through that, and it brought a lot of awareness. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So I was working with a client, and she said to me, so we were trying to discuss what's the best plan of attack for her to really recreate her relationship with herself and with food. And what she said to me was it was so good, right? So she said, what I've done in the past is I've gone super strict and I've restricted everything. And yes, I've sort of gotten results, but I've hated it and I've ended up binging. And the backlash of that is terrible. And in the midst of it, like, I have no life and I don't have any fun, and I don't show up how I want to be, and I'm isolating myself and I'm doing all those things. And she's like, so that wasn't working. And she's like, the other thing that I've done is I've just said, well, I'm just going to go with whatever feels good, sounds good, whatever. And I'm just going to eat what I want to. And she's like, and clearly that's not serving me, because she's like, I'm walking around this planet on a bigger frame than I want to be in. She's like, so that's not serving me. And so what she said was, she's like, I know how to do these two things. I don't know how to do anything in between. I don't know how to do anything in the gray. And so she and I spent a lot of time working together of really figuring out, what does freedom from food feel like from her? What does freedom from her body feel like for her? What does she want it to feel like, right? So we got really clear on what is that feeling, and how does she get to live into that? And then we spent a lot of time talking about, okay, well, we need healthy boundaries around food, right? We've talked about this a ton. Like, boundaries are the thing that will change your life. So she and I spent a lot of time talking about boundaries, and I was like, okay, does that feel good? Does that feel bad? Does that feel expansive, right? Like, we know, like, we got really clear on what visceral intelligence is. And if you guys don't know that, I want to teach you that. But we got really clear on what is visceral intelligence. And it was like, okay, I was like, okay, so we have to have some data probably on, like, what's actually going into your body, right? If we want to create this new relationship. And so I said, what does that feel like for you? Like, we're not going to calorie count, because that gets, like, that takes us back over here, right? We know that's not going to work. I said, okay, well, what about this? And she said, no. I said, what about that? And she said, no. And I said, what about this? And she's like, yes, that's it, right? That feels freeing. That feels like something that I know I can do. And really talked about what was coming up for her emotionally as we talked about these different ways that we can gather data, and that we can start to recreate that relationship with food and recreate that relationship with her. And by the time we got off the phone that night, we had a plan. We're executing it. She felt amazing, right? And it was like, okay, here's where that change really comes. And she said that. She's like, I just know that the things that I've done haven't worked. So I have to do something different, right? Like, I've tried all the things. I've tried all the diets. I've done all the things, and they're not working. And she's like, you know what? Maybe it's 6 months, but I've got to do something different if I want to end up in a different place. And it was so good. And that really got me thinking back to my journey, right? Of like 25 years of being in that struggle, right? 25 years of sometimes feeling good and sometimes feeling bad, but always underlying, like, having this nagging thing of, if I just got that body, if I just did this, right? The when then game, then I'll have freedom, right? Like, what I was looking for was for freedom and happiness. And it was like, all of the things I was doing were keeping me stuck. They were keeping me in that cycle. And so I really got to thinking back to what I did. And that's what I did, right? I finally said, enough is enough. Like, I can't do this anymore, and I can't do this anymore. And I can't not talk about it, right? Because that's the other thing. So many of us that are stuck in the struggle, we're not talking about it. We're not really saying, like, this is the amount of time that I spend thinking about food and about my body and feeling shameful and feeling bad about myself and feeling guilty or feeling whatever. Like, nobody was talking about that. And I was done keeping that inside, and I was done talking about it. And so, what did I do? I decided that I had to do something, and I needed someone to help me, right? I had done all of the things and I couldn't do it myself. And I was like, hey, Steph, like, I needed help. I needed someone to say, look, here's the things, here's the deeper reasons why. It's not about the food, right? It's never been about the food. And I want you guys to understand that, because I hear from so many of you, privately, in person, right? Like, we still somehow think it's about the food. We still somehow think it's about how we feel about our body, and it's just not. So when I really made that commitment to myself and I said, yes, I need help. Yes, I need a coach. Yes, I'm going to do this. Everything shifted. So I want to talk to you guys about my flow program. I've got a lot of questions. I realized that I haven't made it blatantly clear on my videos what the program is. So, I posted sort of the sales page, but I just want to chat with you guys about exactly what it is, why you need to do it, and why this is the thing that's actually going to change your life and the trajectory of how you feel about yourself. And when that changes, the trajectory of everything changes. Okay. I am so passionate about this, and I keep saying that, but this is why, because my entire life has changed. So what flow is, it was born out of the thought that, hi Shannon, I've done so much of both sides. I've done just nutrition with people, and yes, it can work and it gets them healthier. Absolutely, better food makes you healthier. And I've done just the emotional side, where we dive into, like, where did your stories come from? What are you actually searching for? We've done so much of that. But they walk this line where they're in different worlds, right? And this program really just came to me of, like, I want to marry those two things, okay? So I want to teach you how to redevelop your relationship with food, to redevelop your relationship with yourself, to understand the difference between emotional eating and physical eating. And I want you guys to finally feel that freedom. Really, that's the thing. Like, I want you guys to feel free. I want you guys to find happiness. And I want you to understand you get to do those two things together. Okay. So what we're going to do is, it's 6 weeks. Okay. It's a group program. We'll launch the first module next week. But the way it's going to work is that there will be a module. So it's me teaching you guys the material. I truly, truly believe that we all learn differently, and that when we can listen to stuff when we're not in the bottle with it, we get a really different response to it. Okay, so it's me teaching you that. It's all online. So there's an online portal, which is amazing. So it's all online. You're going to get a weekly video, okay? 1 per week. So you don't get overwhelmed or too excited or go too fast. So 1 per week, okay? I'm going to give you a meditation, or I'm coming away from the word meditation because I found out it scares people. So I'm going to give you a guided intention setting session where you just get to get quiet, right? Where you really, that's the thing about being stuck, is that when we're stuck, we're swirling, right? We're not slowing down, and we're not seeing what's happening, but we're swirling and we're in it. And, like, frickin' A, you guys, I did that forever. So I'm going to help you guys learn to slow down a little bit, okay? You're going to have some questions, some intentions, and some just deeper, like, work to think about what's really going on, okay? And then we're going to do calls on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. That's really time where you guys get to just get coached by me, right? You get to show up. You get to show up with your questions. You get to talk through what's coming up, because when you go through, this stuff is going to come up and you need help going through it, right? If you realize stuff and you don't know what to do with it, that doesn't do any good, right? So you're going to have me there, and the other women in the group. And I'll tell you guys, with my beta group, having those other women was life-changing. Like, so many of them were like, oh, I didn't know that until somebody else said it, right? So together we get to be supportive and have that safe space, and you get to get that coaching from me directly, which it's so fun for me, because I just love coaching you guys. But really getting to talk through that stuff will change everything for you, okay? So that's on Tuesday nights, and then it will repeat, okay? But beyond that, that's the deep stuff, right? But beyond that is, I really want you guys to start being understanding of, like, what does nourishment look like in your life, and how do you get to create it in a way that feels expansive, and in a way that your body feels good, and in a way that, like, you show up the way you want to, okay? So I've got some healthy recipe ideas, meal options for you, just to give you some guidelines, because I've also realized that so many people don't really understand how to nourish their bodies, right? They know how to diet, or they know how to binge. They don't know how to nourish, and they don't know what their body actually needs. So there's that in there. There's also some workouts, because I've heard from a lot of you of, like, I would love to go to your gym, but I don't live in Colorado. So, like, what can I do? Actually, I have one of my clients, Tracy, shout out to you. So 20 years ago, maybe. She was like one of my very first clients, and she just joined again because she's like, I'm traveling and what do I do? And I was like, dude, you got to have this program. So, so she joined us today. So, you know, it's stuff you can do from anywhere. You can do it in a gym or you can do it at home. So it's really all of the pieces of emotionality, of mindset, of actual nutrition and of movement that you need to get yourself launched into the right direction. So, that's what the program is. The cost is $299. It's incredibly reasonable to get all of this stuff and really to get you guys going. And I set this price point because my heart and my soul wants you guys to be able to do this. And I know there's a ton of you, you know, your moms, you're not used to taking care of yourself. And so having a number that was really reasonable was super important to me. So cost of $299. If you need to make payments, I will totally work with you because I don't want to see you guys stay stuck. I don't want you guys to feel the way that I felt a year ago and the way that I felt Monday morning, right? Like, so the coolest thing for me was like, yeah, you're going to fall into it sometimes, but when you go through this, then you have the tools to get out of it. So I want you guys to really do this for yourself. Don't stay stuck any longer. Like, just take the jump, do this with us. We start next week and I want you guys there. So if you have questions, just reach out and let's chat. If you know you're ready, I'll drop the link. But I'm just so excited to serve you guys and to really see you guys get out of that stickiness and really be able to find that freedom. So hope you guys are on an awesome Thursday and I will chat with you soon.